Cablevision presents high school basketball. Tonight, the red-hot Northport Tigers take on the Connetquot Thunderbirds in a League Two showdown. Well, hi again, everybody. I'm Barry Landers, along with Stan Kellner. Happy New Year, Uncle Stan. And we're ready for basketball action. We've got a Northport team that a lot of people feel could end up maybe a champion this year.
Well, certainly the top six right now. They could be the top four. They play great. George Frank has his club playing great defense. They play disciplined offense. And they've got 7 people that they rotate into the offense, so they always got a fresh defense. On the other hand, the T-Birds from Connetquot, a young, growing season for Bobby Drizel. He's got a nice club. If he can shorten the game, get ahead early, he could be in the game.
Well, let's take a look at this Northport club because they are 12-1, 7-0 in league play, and they've got an outstanding quartet of players. As you mentioned, they've got big people who can shoot it outside, and they've got a kid who provides a lot of leadership, a senior, Pat Cash.
Oh, Pat Cash is the best athlete on the team and the smallest at 5'11". 13 points a game, Barry, 3 rebounds, 3 steals, got nice numbers. All league as a sophomore, all county as a junior. Very competitive kid, sees the court and is tough.
And this year he's forced to drive more. He's an excellent outside shooter, but teams are playing him so tight that he's had to drive and dish off a lot more. Very unselfish player. Speaking of unselfish, that really typifies the Connetquot team. Not a bunch of great athletes, but a team that plays for one another, and they've got a good player by the name of Gary Waldron.
Well, they got a great coach too, Bobby Drizel, who's over at Farmingdale. But Waldron, what I like about Waldron is that he plays tough D, and he's going to be playing against the Northport Tigers' big man, Doug Traney, and he's got to really do a good job. Doesn't score a lot, but he has to play big on defense. That's the big play for that guy.
Well, the first time these two clubs met, Northport won rather easily with a big second-half surge, and it'll be interesting to see how Northport responds today, Stan. A 2-point overtime win over Comac yesterday. This will be their 3rd game in 4 days.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game for both ball clubs because it's been a tough week weather-wise, as we know right now. Tough getting here to the gym, but they both look ready, and they both can, I'm sure, will give us a great game.
All right, so the stage is set, which should be an interesting ball game, and we'll be back with more in just a moment. Get set for high school basketball on Cablevision's LISN.
They're courteous, they're quick. They're children, they really take care of you.
Care of you by the Athlete's Foot. Nobody knows the Athlete's Foot like the Athlete's Foot, with 8 convenient locations on Long Island. And by the Bosse's Tech Centers, the power to succeed. Barry Landers along with Stan Kellner, later joined by Carl Reuter here at Lindenhurst High School, part of this League Two big doubleheader. Lindenhurst will play Whitman in another game you'll see on Cablevision's LISN, but right now the Northport Tigers 12-1 against the Connetquot club. Their T-Birds a record of 2-10. Connetquot jumping center will be number 40, Gary Waldron. He'll be jumping against Pat Cash. Interesting, Cash at 5'11", Stan, jumping center right here.
That's how tough he is.
And the ball is controlled by the Northport Tigers, averaging 60, only giving up 49. A very good defensive club. We'll set the lineup as we go. Chris Wiepke is number 14, 34, Pat Cash. Rob Sinicola is number 21. And the inside people are 43, Tommy Radman, and 52, Doug Traney. And there's Doug Traney, averaging 16, getting it off to a good start.
There's an isolation on Traney inside, and what's going to have to happen is Gary Waldron needs help at that offside guard.
All right, Scott Coppola is the point guard, number 12, working the backcourt with John Chapin, number 11. Up front, number 24, John Gillespie. All 3 players about 6'1", so it's a small backcourt and front court. Ball goes out of bounds. Cash trying to save it. And up front, guys are going to have to really rebound. John O'Connell and Gary Waldron against a very big front line.
They have to establish some kind of neutralization off the boards. The T-Birds will have to do that because the Tigers are very tough inside.
O'Connell, then the dish off to Waldron, and he banks it in. As Waldron, averaging almost 7 a game, a high of 18, had 4 in the Northport game, makes it a 2-2 ball game right here. What about the defense of the Thunderbirds, Stan?
Both teams playing man-to-man, both teams playing the same flex offense.
Pat Cash bouncing the ball. This is a Northport team that really takes good care of the ball. Very good passing team, a patient offensive ball club.
The word is discipline, and they really are disciplined.
And driving is Doug Training. Doug had 16 in the first showdown against Connetquot, a high of 35 against Center Reach Stand.
And his last 2 points in the last game against Comac were from the free throw line in overtime, and a victory for the Tigers.
And count the basket on the nice-looking drive.
Is Bobby Drizel, who was at Farmingdale University for 5 years. Really knows his game. Started out playing at Bellport. I should say Bayport. But the thing that I like about him is that his teams are very well disciplined themselves, and they play together.
So Connetquot on the three-point play has opened up a 1-point lead as the Tigers bring it down. Having trouble against the trap was Radman. They throw it away. The other day in their almost loss to Comac, they didn't pass the ball very well. George Frank was not happy. He felt we should have beat Comac by a big score. Comac, one of the clubs at the bottom. And that shot from the outside is good, as Northport finds themselves down right now.
What's happening is the Tigers are a very strong team, but not a very quick team. But it's interesting that Connetquot is creating the tempo and doubling up all over the court.
And they had a jump shot there. Rob Sinicola, but he passed it up on the drive. Wiepke, the drop-off is good for Tommy Radman.
Radman inside, and there's George Frank, a math teacher at school. The last 3 years, he's had incredible records. 2 years ago, they were like 22-1.
Off the turnover, Northport. They don't use too much transition, but the shot missed inside by Robbie Sinicola. So Connetquot with the ball and a 1-point lead. They gave up their home game to be part of this Cablevision LISN doubleheader. Swinging in the quarter. Here's Chapman. He misses the tip-up by Waldron, no good. And the Northport Tigers, Tommy Radman with the rebound. Here's Cash driving to the hole.
Well, he got the ball on the left wing, number 34. And one thing I like about Pat Cash is that he knows how to drive to the basket, but he keeps his head up. He's very good with the assists.
John Gillespie has provided 5 of his team's 7 points for Connetquot. Long-range shot from outside by Gary Waldron. And the rebound pulled down by Doug Training. Northport with a 1-point lead. Training powering his way up against Waldron.
Well, using that wide body to get inside to protect the ball and establish that pivot foot. Being able to stop and play strong, as Training can do, creates an inside offense for the Tigers.
Doug became a starter in the middle of last year, averaged 14 points for Northport. They were a 500 ball club last year. Good defense that time, tipped away by Radman. Here's Cash the other way. Yes, count the basket. And he was fouled by John Chapin.
Well, John had nothing to do with it because it was just a smart play by Pat Cash, who protected the ball with his body. I mean, Chapin had nothing to do but foul. Take a look at, you're just going to watch it, a smart player break down. The first 3 steps on a break is very important. A nice pitch out. And watch how he protects the ball. Goes into the defensive man, draws the foul.
Richie Lippold, number 50, and Greg Dunn, number 23, have checked into the lineup. These guys will play half the game. George Frank really plays 7 men a whole lot here, and they will really contribute off the bench. Lippold averaging 11 points, a high of 23 against Riverhead. In that big win against Bellport the other day, Stan, he had 20 points off the bench.
Yeah, he's a scorer. He's a senior. This is his last year, but he plays good D inside.
And speaking of defense, that time, Trainee came up with it, but we had a foul called against the Connetquot club reaching in. Our officials, 2 of the best around, Skip Yutzler and Ronnie Heff.
Well, nobody has to introduce Ronnie Heff because he's just been a great official these last several years. And Skip Yutzler did the state championships.
Wiepke will bring it down, working now in the backcourt with Greg Dunn, 23. Pat Cash also playing as a forward. That's done. Big boy stand, 6'3" in the backcourt. They've got good size, this ball club. 6'1", 6'3" guards right now.
Against zones, when you're big like that and have that aerial view, it really is an effective ploy.
It's a ball club that passes the ball well. They rarely take bad shots. Speaking of good passing, Cash with a fine pass to Doug Training.
Yep, it was Cash inside the Training. And when number 52 gets that ball inside with those strong hands of his, good things happen for the Tigers.
Trainee has 8 of his team's 15 points. They have scored 8 in a row here. They look inside. Oh, but the shot missed by John O'Connell. He should have made that one.
Well, he should have used the glass. That's what coaches say to the big people inside.
Connetquot's a ball club that only scores 45 a game. They're giving up 57. By contrast, Northport averaging 60, giving up only 49. They've traditionally been an excellent defensive team.
They play good defense because they have that offside support. There's good pressure up on the ball, but just too much for number 52.
Trainee going behind the back, and not very happy Bobby Drazel over there. Giselle, rather.
Gary Waldron is such a big body and so strong and so fluid inside. I mean, it's very tough to stop on that baseline. You got to stop him on that first step. If he gets inside, the only way you're going to stop him is with a double team.
Well, Waldron couldn't stop him, man, Stan. He's going to sit down right now. I think he's picked up a couple of fouls, and yes, indeed, it is the second foul on Waldron. And here's Doug Trainee, co-captain, just a junior, Stan. He's going to be quite a player before he draws a lot of fouls. And speaking of fouls, getting the ball inside but not getting the call that time was Greg Dunn. Lost the ball, and it'll be Connetquot basketball. Coppola dropping it off. This is Gillespie. He hit his first 2 shots, and only 1 opportunity on the glass here.
Oh, I like Northport, the way they bring that ball up court. Not off the dribble, but that first or second pass is off the floor. I mean, they kick it right out.
Greg Dunn missing the outside shot. This is a ball club that will shoot the 3. They're only shooting 28% from 3-point range, but they have the ability to shoot a lot of 3s. They've made 34 of them. Speaking of 3s, that a long-range shot not very good, taken by John O'Connell. The follow inside no good by John Chapin. And if Connetquot's going to stay in the game, they've got to get those second chance shots like that back in.
They've got to make their outside shots. They've got to make those baskets inside. What you have, though, with the T-Birds is a team, all 5 of them, with no really starting experience. They're getting experience on the job.
Nice pass inside, but missing that time, Northport, and the ball goes out of bounds. As Northport worked the ball nicely and got a scoring opportunity for Greg Dunn, but he couldn't convert. Meanwhile, Connetquot has made some changes in the lineup. Damon Sinacrapi, number 44, is checked into the ball game stand for the Northport Thunderbirds, for the Connetquot Thunderbirds.
He's a good player off the bench. He rotates in with the guards. Very aggressive player.
He's a well-built young man, trying to add a little bit muscle as Connetquot lobbing it inside. Broken up. Chapin lost it. Back they come down court. And losing the ball himself is Richie Lippold, the 6'6 senior, who's an outstanding athlete. George Frank says he can slam, he can dribble, shoot the 3. He's their best jumper. And what a record George Frank has amassed, especially lately, Stan, over the last 6 years. How about this record? 85 and 28.
He had 3 league titles in 89, 90, 91, Barry.
Now sitting down will be Doug Trainee, and he's replaced by Tommy Radman. Look at that screenplay set up. Pat Cash, nice spin drive, lays it up off the glass.
Nice spacing by the Tigers that allowed Cash to get inside.
4 for Cash. They've run off 12 in a row, the Northport Tigers. Good defense that time on Coppola, but they spot a foul. And the foul should go up against Chris Wiebke, the good-looking sophomore. What people forget about this Northport team is how young it is, Stan. You've got Wiebke, a sophomore, Sinicola, a junior. We watch the replay here.
See the help on a baseline rotation? That indicates the team is playing synergistic defense. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Non-shooting foul, so the ball inbounded. Oh, nice block that time by Lippold. And back the other way, Lippold finishes.
Well, he's the big guy. He can really slam, and he loves to slam. Outstanding athlete.
He had 20 points, 10 rebounds against a very tough Belfort team. Currently in second place in this league with a record of 5-2, along with Lindenhurst. You'll see Lindenhurst play Walt Whitman, which is a very good matchup on the LISN. Ball deflected, stolen away. Here's Lippold again. Oh, he misses the reverse.
Well, he wanted to do that 180, you know, and flip it up over his back, and you know, when you do dramatic things like this guy does, you want to go always one thing better, and he's got to prevent that. He's got to discipline himself and go right up to the glass, go strong, but not do that 180 stuff.
Rob Connetquot's checked back in the ball game in the backcourt, number 21. A minute 25 to go this first quarter, which you see Northport run off 12 in a row. Now make it 14 in a row as Greg Dunn hits the outside shot.
Greg Dunn is one of those players on that 7-man rotation. What he does so well is shoot from the outside.
And the first quarter comes to an end as Scott Coppola misses. So George Frank's club got off a little bit slow because it was Connetquot on a couple of shots by Gillespie opening up an early lead, but they stormed back and now lead 23-7 after one. We'll be back in just a moment. You're watching high school basketball on Cablevision's LISN. Ready to go for second quarter action. The Northport Tigers showing why they are undefeated in league play, 7-0 and 12-1 overall, with a 15-point run to end that first quarter. Let's see if Connetquot can get back in the ball game here. They'll try a long outside shot that time by Sinacori, and it goes over the top. It'll go over to Northport.
Bobby Drizel said before the game his team must score early, cut down on the turnovers, and keep Northport to one shot. He's kept Northport to one shot. Unfortunately, they made that first shot.
Now Northport shooting a sizzling 63% in that first quarter, Stan Kellner. And doing an excellent job from the floor and also on the boards. We'll pick up some changes for you. Wibke dishing the ball off to the corner. That shot by Connetquot and no good. First year varsity Connetquot was the point guard on the JV. As Bobby Drizel hopes his club can get a couple of points on this.
Not a good week for Bobby. He's been sick with the flu, and if it finishes up with this kind of a game for his club, hasn't been a good week.
His club did win last week, their only victory of the year in the league play. They beat Centereach, but they've got to take better shots than that. That last shot by John O'Connell, an air ball. Cash with a nice move used the left hand, but it wouldn't drop. O'Connell with the rebound. And goes out of bounds. Coppola trying to save it. Ronnie Heft, Skip Yutzler, our officials. And
Bobby Drizel's got to get his team back if he wants to get that 21st victory.
And he coached at Farmingdale College, did a nice job while he was over there.
Oh, he had great talent, and he knew how to coach him. Problem with this talent, it's young talent for the T-Birds. On the other hand, the Tigers are really, I mean, this is the best talent I've seen.
Tommy Radman at 6'5", showing he can hit the outside shot. Well, when you have big men like Trainee and Radman and Lippold who could step away from the basket, and all three could play college as a 6'5", outside player, that really hurts the opposition because you can play them inside, and they've got the capability of taking it outside.
Oh, they're very capable of scoring on a half-court game, and what impresses me with the Tigers is the fact that they can push the ball up the court. Those big guys do a great job off the boards, and Pat Cash has that sense of releasing at the right time to get the ball.
Radman with 5 points. Connetquot having trouble against the defense of the Tigers. Coppola putting it on the floor, driving to the hoop. And the black shirts come up with the basketball underneath. Knocked away. Trainee had it. Went out of bounds off Connetquot. So it'll be Northport ball.
See, Coppola made a nice drive to the basket, but he drew a crowd of black shirts as soon as he got into the paint. Now that's good team defense.
Pat Cash, the captain. Good dish once again to Tommy Radman. And you can pick up a lot of assists when you're playing with guys who can finish like Radman.
What's happening is the Tigers are running their lane so well, getting down the court, getting the ball to Cash, and he's that quarterback who can score but can really distribute the ball.
John Gillespie, who has just about half his team's points. Gillespie with the outside shot. And now it's 28-13 as they break that run of points. Cash off the nice feed that time, and he puts it home. Connetquot with the assist.
Oh, tremendous rapport on the fast break by the Tigers. They know just exactly when to deliver the ball to their teammate.
So it's now a 20-point lead. At one point, Connetquot led by a point, 7-6. Connetquot missing. And Cash pushing the ball up for the Tigers. Trainey, again, an unselfish play. Spotted his open teammate Radman on the follow. It's good, and he was fouled. But you gotta like the way they're looking for one another, the chemistry out there, as you pointed out a moment ago.
Here's what's happening. First of all, Connetquot is not drilling their shots at all, okay? But the thing about the Tigers is the way they play the boards, the way they kick the ball out. Nobody's putting that ball on the floor. They're really pushing that ball up with the pass, getting the ball to Cash. The lanes are being filled tremendously quick, and they're just impressive.
Wiepke and Tranny will sit down as Tommy Radman goes to the free throw line. Radman looking for point number 10, and he's got it. A high of 15 against Huntington. Had 14 points in the overtime win over Comac. Led the team in scoring. Had only 8 points against Belport, but he was 6 for 6 from the foul line in the fourth quarter when they won that close game, Stan.
And good teams win games from the free throw line and get the good players at the free throw line when it counts.
Coppola missing, and the rebound pulled down by Northport as they sent a Cola with that last rebound. Cash working the ball outside. He could play the 1, the 2, or the 3, Cash. Does so many things for the team away from the ball. Look at that pass as he spotted Radman. Radman blocked that time. Unusual play. He didn't go up. O'Connell didn't even leave his feet, blocked it.
He didn't protect the ball with his body. You don't have to jump high to get the ball off, or even defensively. It's a question of timing.
Lance Doucette, number 23 in the ball game right now for the Thunderbirds, as they've made a couple of changes. He's a 6'4" junior. Great passes inside, Stan. You talk about entry passes from the wing, from the top of the key. They are getting the ball to the big people in excellent position down low.
True, but it's really the job of defense to deny those kind of entry passes, the three-quarter, the big people inside, to put better pressure up on the ball. But the Tigers are well positioned out there. They look for one another. They can play the half court. They can play the full court. This is the most exciting I've seen Northport ever play, because they're playing the full court and they're mixing it with their half court discipline. Excellent.
Mike Serace has checked into the ball game, number 32, a 6'2" junior, backup guard, a real dedicated kid, hard-working kind of kid. He's in the ball game right now, along with number 53, Joe Staduto, a 6'3" sophomore who's big and strong and has a lot of potential. And as they work it outside, number 32, Mike Serace, called for the turnover. And we have a timeout on the floor right now. Timeout with the Northport Tigers on a roll. They lead it 33-10. You're watching Cablevision's Long Island Sports Network. Stan and Carl will talk about Suffolk County basketball, and then the story involving Jim Mahoney, and really quite a sad story. The coach for some many years over at nearby Copiague High School, who resigned just this last week under fire, Stan.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that his players couldn't support him in a situation where I think the coach was right. They just didn't have their head in the game, but we'll talk about that at halftime.
All right, Northport shooting 15 for 23, 62%. Connetquot 2 for 14, 14%. And Goleski, who has those 2 baskets, coming up with the shot there, missing. Doucette missing from the corner, and the rebound to Lippold.
Great position inside by the Tigers on every shot. Connetquot is just not moving the ball. They've got a hand in the face every time they're taking a shot. Alex
Supius in the ball game right now with Joe Staduto. Staduto is 53. Supius is number 30, a junior, 6 foot, 160 pound. Excellent defensive player, as they've got a lot of subs in there right now. Mike Serace is in there as well. The drive and the miss that time by Staduto, who has worked very hard in practice, hasn't scored much this year, averaging about 6 minutes a game.
Not only does Connetquot not have a returning starter from last year's club, they don't really have a go-to guy that can really drill that shot or create that play. And it's a team that's getting better, but the problem with them is they just don't have any size inside as well.
Well, Lippold got back. He's the only guy with any experience on the rest of these 5 that are out there, Stan. And Lippold getting the nice pass, beating the defender down court, has 4 points off the bench.
What set that play up was that long pass, and the Tigers are using that long pass to their advantage.
Doucette missing from the corner. Northport again breaking. Lippold, nice unselfish pass, ran into the arms of Alex Supios, and he scored.
He didn't telegraph his pass. He put the ball on the floor, and he didn't indicate that he saw his open teammate, but he got the ball to him, Lippold did.
This time, they get in, but look at the recovery by Lippold, but the rebound is put up and in that time by John O'Connell.
Oh, Lippold is a very athletic player out there. Nice sense. I'm very impressed with the fact that he comes off the bench and really gives Northport that boost, that catalytic boost.
What a sixth man to have come off your bench, Stan, a guy capable of 20 points against a team like Belfort, and a 6'6" kid nonetheless. And from the outside, they continue. This is Greg Dunn, the 6'3", 195-pound all-county soccer player, making it 40-12.
The Tigers do not rely on their patterns alone. They're very well skilled. They can hit the perimeter shot. What's happening now with the T-Birds is the fact that they're being shut out inside.
Well, they're not very patient with the ball either, Stan. You know, they're not getting, I think, good shots. They're not trying to work the ball around inside. You don't see any motion offense. Their content seem to be throwing the ball up from long range out here.
Well, they're inexperienced, as I said before, and they're getting the on-the-job training, but they've got to get some completion. Very important for a team like Connetquot that's building for next year is that they have some kind of success, but Northport just won't allow it.
Supios spotting his open teammate. Surace back out to Supios. Now in the ball game is Greg Bonasoro, number 45, 6 foot, 201-pound junior. He's a tremendous football player, an excellent lacrosse player, real leader. This junior class, a very tight class, is Bonasoro, one of the guys that, you know, not a great basketball player, Stan, but just the kind of kid you want to have on your team. He's a leader from football and lacrosse, and he's going to get a few minutes of playing time every game. Cody.
Well, yeah, he comes to practice every day. He's very reliable, and he's very unselfish with his effort. He really becomes, in a sense, a role model for other players. You don't have to be a star to be a role model. 30
seconds to go in this first half. It's 40-12, and Connetquot with the basketball. Coppola. Gillespie, who has most of their points, drives, and it rolls off. The follow by O'Connell, no good. And their shooting percentage continues to be a staggeringly low one, as they can't get the ball to drop. Just 12 points here in this first half.
Well, they're not getting good looks at the basket on their shots. It's either on a move or it's an outside shot out of the range of the shooter.
That time they spotted an open John O'Connell on a nice pass from Scott Coppola. And that makes it 40-14, 5 seconds to go. Will they get a shot off here? Supios, 1 second, and will not get the shot off in time. But a tremendous first half of basketball for George Frank. He doesn't look very happy, the former Hauppauge High School basketball, football, and baseball player, but what a clinic his team put on. And even though it's against a team in the bottom of the league, this has to serve notice to the other Big A schools, the Sachums, the Floyds, and whatever, that this team's going to be heard from come playoff time.
It's a team that struggled against Comac yesterday, but they seem to get more impetus as a result of playing.
Time out on the floor. We'll be right back with our halftime report. You're watching Cablevision's LISN.
During the 363 days of the year, rain, snow, everything, we're here.
It's family-oriented, especially for prescriptions.
It's the customer, the customer, the customer, the customer. Take care of the customer. That's it.
A dozen eggs. Make that 11. A dozen donuts, plus 1 to Baker's dozen. A dozen pair of sneakers, plus 1 free. That's the Athlete's Foot family plan. When a family buys 12 pairs, earn 1 pair free. No time limit, no cards to carry, and no cost. Any footwear, including cleats, count toward your dozen. Choose from all the top brands, Nike, Reebok, Fila, LA Gear, and check out our exciting lines from No Fear and Starter. Put your best foot forward at the Athlete's Foot, the best service and selection known to feed.
Halftime of this one, Stan, it is all Northport leading Connetquot by the score of 40-14. We'll talk about that later. But I think what we have to talk about, and the whole basketball community on Long Island is talking about, the disgrace of the community of Copeg, what they have done to long-time. Well, now he's not even the long-time coach. Jim Mahoney had to resign because of the feedback that he was getting negative feedback from the community. I know that you and I pretty much stand on the same foot on this one. Mahoney was ousted, and he should not have been.
Well, he resigned, as you know. I was out of town, and when I came back and I read about the articles and I got some information about what happened, I think the buck has to stop somewhere. I don't know if it stops with the community. I don't know if it stops with Jim Mahoney. I think it stops really with the players. You know, there's an old saying, for wrong to succeed, good people have to remain quiet. And I can remember in my own experience of coaching that I once had an incident very close to this thing that happened with Jim, and my players supported me, or they supported themselves, and they came out on a court where they could have gone home as the co-pay.
We should say that it was because of alleged profanity. That's why Mahoney was forced to resign.
Well,
but this is something he's been doing for 27 years. And the worst thing is he was going to retire at the end of this season.
Well, profane language, I think no one, even Jim Mahoney, doesn't approve of that. But sometimes a choice word creates the kind of impact that a coach wants. But I'm not here to talk about that. What I'm talking about, and I think you got to focus on this, that young people have a responsibility to lead themselves at times. They made a wrong decision. See, they're eagles. And when leaders follow leaders, that's what it's all about. When leaders follow a follower, that could be like the eagle that followed the chicken. And I feel that the players are responsible. Now, I think maybe 20 years down the road, when they become mature adults and they have to make decisions, or their children have to make decisions, and they're confronted with a similar situation, I think they'll understand the values of a Jim Mahoney and what this whole story is about.
27 years, 387 career wins, and the first game back after they had forfeited a couple of games, Kopech, Jim Mahoney, where was he? Right there, watching the game, sat up in the stands with his wife. That's how much he loves that Kopech program.
And that brings out one other quality that I think about the story about this, and it's this. You know, there's talent, and we see Northport playing very talented team, okay? And Kopech, very talented ball club, not playing well. There's another factor involved in winning games, and it's called an inner strength of character. Kopech did not show it. And you win games with talent, but an inner strength of character. And when they combine, that's when you really see real success. There's a difference, Carl, between champions and heroes. And what we saw were nobody being a hero for Kopech. And I'm not blaming Jim Mahoney. I do his language or whatever. I'm not blaming the community. I think the blame has to go on one group, and that's the players. They did not support their coach. And are they sending a message to the rest of the people? And I can, as a player myself, and I know you're an athlete, we supported our coaches. And when you don't, what's happening is your value system. Look, teams win because it's we and us, not me and I. And what Jim Mahoney saw was a me and I out there, some guy jerking around on before a game, and really taking the kid to task. Kid walks off, team walks off. What's the message? And that's what I feel
Well,
about.
we will remember Jim Mahoney, Stan and I, as a guy that was a basketball coach that won, as I said, 387 games. A guy that really put Kopech on the map in Suffolk County basketball, not as a guy who was forced to resign in a year that he was going to retire. So I can only say, Jim Mahoney, we wish you well.
You went out a champion, my guy.
And we'll be back with more right after this. You're watching Cablevision's Long Island Sports Network.
Great store, clean, neat, and the sales help is wonderful, especially the pharmacists.
It's a beautiful store. It's a beautiful store.
He's a great store. I just like the store, period.
I'm a tough customer. The prices are great. You can get in and out in 5 minutes.
Keep it up. The prices are great.
You got a fine store. Keep up the good work.
Is there a Mr. Genevieve?
Yes.
And we've been trying to service the customer this way for 70 years next year.
We're members of the first ever Long Island Championship football team, but we never would have won if it wasn't for Steve Worth and the Long Island Sports Rehab Center.
Steve Worth, physical therapist of the New York Islanders, has been providing orthopedic and sports physical therapy to Long Islanders for 20 years. With his professional staff, Long Island Sports and Rehab provides the best personal care for all your orthopedic needs. Long Island Sports and Rehab gets you back in action.
Join me and my team at Long Island Sports and Rehab.
Back at Lindenhurst High School, Barry Landers, Stan Kellner, as we get ready for the second half of our League Two showdown between the red-hot Northport Tigers, who looking for their 8th straight win. Their only loss this year to Southampton. Stan, they shot the eyes out of the basketball. 67%, 18 for 27, and of course, Connetquot just 6 for 24, 25%.
What the Tigers are doing is just playing strong on all 3 areas of the court. Backcourt, frontcourt, and certainly on a transition.
Nice ball movement there. And Wiepke shows the point guard when he shoots the ball, which he doesn't very often. He can hit the outside shot.
This is a club that plays on a run now, Northport. It's a club that can shoot the outside shot, and if it's caught, of course, it's got the power game. It always had the power game.
Wiepke getting on the scoreboard with his bucket. He has 3. Let's run down the scoring for Tranny and Radman had 10 points apiece. Cash 9, Dunn 5, Lippold 4, Supios 2 in that first half. As Cash misses, but look at him battle for the rebound, and it goes out of bounds off of Connetquot. Great second effort by Pat Cash.
Well, he gets inside with that small body, and he can maneuver for the inside shot, and if he doesn't get a good shot, he draws a foul.
As we saw there on the replay stand.
Yeah, he's as quick as they come.
Connetquot working the ball to Wiepke. Chris Wiepke, and very unselfish kid. He's a sophomore running this very talented club. And there is not a senior in the first 5 players. Lippold is a senior coming off the bench and done. So their 2 top reserves as seniors. Everybody else underclassmen. And Robbie Connetquot buries the 3 from outside.
Connetquot, who does such a good job stealing the ball. In the last game, he had 4 steals. But Connetquot, and like the rest of the Tigers, see the court. They look for one another. As soon as they get the ball, they look inside.
Well, Connetquot and Wiepke didn't score in the first half, so said, hey, it's our turn, Stan Kellner. And that is a sweet-looking shot from Scott Coppola, averaging 9 points. We're waiting to hear from him. That's his first points of this ball game, Stan.
Sets up real quick. He's slow, basically, but sets his shot up real quick.
And the ball is off Cash. It'll be white ball, 5 points, 5 turnovers, rather, for the Connetquot, for the Northport Tigers.
One of the few times, Barry, where a T-Bird was given room to take that shot, and that was Coppola.
Wiepke, good defense there, but wrestled by O'Connell, but he throws it away. Over to Radman, he threw it, and Cash will wisely back it out.
See the heads up, they're always looking for people that are cutting. Play under control.
Cash off to Tranny. Powers his way in and gets fouled. Doug Tranny gets the most of his 6'4", 215-pound frame, Stan.
He's got a low, explosive dribble inside. Is Ronnie Heff, one of the top officials, not only in the county on Long Island, but in his state.
He's got good body control. You'll see Cash dish it off here.
See how he puts that ball on the floor below his knees, comes up with those big shoulders, draws the foul?
He's very deceptively quick for his size at 6'4", 215. You'd think he'd be a little slower, draws a lot of fouls. It's only a 53% free throw shooter, Stan.
It was a point cut earlier in his career, and so he sees the court, but he just got bigger and stronger, developed that inside move. Coach was very smart to place him close to the basket.
Tranny is 0 for 3 at the foul line this evening. One of the few things wrong that Northport has done. He has had a fine ball game, leading scorer with Radman in that first half with 10 apiece. Nice move inside, and the ball dropped this time for John Chapin, the 6'1" co-captain, averaging 9 points.
What John Chapin did was when he got inside, again with that low dribble, was protect the ball with his body and power layup off the glass.
Chapin did not score in the first half. Nice no-look pass, and Tranny puts it in.
That head was so low. You could see Tranny's head go real low, but then he just exploded up.
So Tranny putting it home. He has double figures at 12 points.
See, it's very important, Barry, for a team that's struggling to get more passes into the offense, get more people involved into the offense. Shorten the game, of course, but that's the only way you're going to break down a Tiger defense is make sure that the offside people come over and help, and then exploit them.
Cash firing from outside. And the ball going out of bounds. O'Connell had missed the last Connetquot shot. Bobby Drizel's ball club in his third year, 45-year-old, who played at Belport High School, Stan, and played for Dowling College. Played for Frank Layden, a name in the past in the Suffolk County Hall of Fame, Sports Hall of Fame. And what a team he played on at Dowling College, Bobby Drizel. As we watch one of his youngsters go to the hole, and John O'Connell score.
Some great names in basketball now. Tony Ferrantino, of course, Dick Berg was there after Frank Layden. Joe Pelicane, the coach now over at Dowling. Joe Maniaci, Tommy Abernamako, when they top recruited in the country.
And another nice pass. Radman this time to Cash. And this team picks up a lot of assists because they looked for one another.
But
very
you really
unselfish ball club.
You have that catalyst, and that's Cash. Cash gets the ball from the guys off the boards, and he does so many marvelous things out there.
Gillespie on the rebound scores after O'Connell missed. Gillespie with 10 of his team's 23 points.
Nice thing about Gillespie is that he can shoot outside. He puts the ball on the floor. Very active.
Trainee off to the corner. Wiepke over to Cash.
You see, they all seem to play within themselves. They don't force their offense. They work very hard on defense. But on offense, there's a nice flow.
And there's your point guard skills. You talked about Trainee being a point guard in junior high school. He looked to the basket, found Radman cutting, made a fine pass, and now with 12 points right there, Radman. So he and Trainee, a couple of nice bookends in the middle stand.
You know, there's a lesson here too, Barry. Here's Bobby Drizel, an experienced coach. And you know what he's doing with his T-Birds? Staying with the man-to-man. He's getting picked apart with the man-to-man. But it's a developmental program. It's the only way to get these guys better is to teach them man-to-man. And they've got to do it, unfortunately, through mistakes. O'Connell
throws it away, and we'll get a substitution. Greg Dunn will check into the ball game. Number 23, and sitting down will be Rob Sinicola. So Sinicola, the junior. This is a junior-laden team. Boy, I tell you, this team is going to be something else even next year, Stan. They lose Lippold and they lose Dunn, but they have the entire starting five back as Connetquot comes up with a turnover.
You know, it's a cliche, but you say, you know, kids like one another on winning teams, but these kids do like one another. They care for one another. And it's a value system that George Franks teaches.
Almost losing it was Coppola. Gillespie. Waldron lays it up. Nice move by Waldron in the paint.
Oh, that was a nice spin move inside. Big giant step to get to the basket.
4 points for Waldron, averaging almost 7 a game. Had a high of 18 in that victory over Center Reach last Saturday. Now the Tigers turn it over. Second straight turnover, and that is the 7th turnover by Northport.
Rare mistake by the Tigers.
Chapin inside to Coppola, way off the glass. Oh, look at Cash go up. Boy, he shows you his athletic ability there, getting that ball. Looked like a wide receiver.
Oh, I mean, nice outlet, but super pass by Trainee. You know, pass like that? Wes Unso. I mean, he was one guy that could take that ball and throw it 3/4 court over his head. And what Doug Trainee did was just take that ball, not look down, and just look down the court.
Cash is a great soccer player. Showed that he had good hands coming up with that ball and a good body control. 5'11", 180-pounder. The dish off inside. The shot blocked that time by Waldron as he blocked Lippold. So good defensive play by the 6'4" co-captain, Gary Waldron.
Doug Trainee really whipped that ball over to Rich Lippold, but Lippold has really great hands to catch that ball.
Trainee back out to Lippold. There's another pass inside for Radman, but he lost it this time. You have big people passing the ball as well as their 6'5", 6'6" guys are. That is a tremendous asset.
Well, that's that offense affords that because there's a lot of interchanging of positions.
Under 2 minutes to go here in the third quarter. The offense for Northport is bogged down somewhat. They've had only 11 points here after getting 40 in the first half. Coppola almost lost it. Chapin. And a travel will be called. As the ball went over to John O'Connell, and a very aggressive baseball and football player gets called for the travel. That is the 8th turnover for Bobby Drizel's ball club.
He's Bobby Drizel showing no emotion there. I mean, he knows that his team is struggling. I mean, you don't have to be a genius on that. But the problem problem is when the T-Birds make a great move inside, there's 3 Tigers around the ball, not only stopping the ball, but stopping the passing lanes.
But you got to be impressed with their hustle. And defensively here, they've forced some turnovers on Northport's part here in the third quarter, playing a lot better defensively than they did when they gave up 40 points in that first half.
These kids are good athletes, and they're not going to quit.
Trainee from the baseline. Radman lost it off a Connetquot player, they say. Check that was Dunn, who was battling for the rebound for George Frank, who played basketball at Missouri Valley College and came back home to Long Island. Chapin a little out of control, lost the dribble to Dunn.
Sitting next to George Frank is Ray Waters, JV coach, who has had very successful teams of several years. But speaking of George Frank, you get the feeling that there's really a team effort there with the coaching staff.
Well, George's wife, Pamela, is at the scorer's table keeping the book. We'll get a shot of her a little bit later on. Pat Cash. We've seen that on more than one occasion this year, as we have the drive by Lippold, and he got fouled where the wife does a little of the bookkeeping for the husband, the basketball coach. Gives him a little something together, Stan.
I hope there's more than that. But it's a good beginning. You know, when you go home from the games, well, I know when I came home from the games, the conversation was, you know, what do I have to pick up at the supermarket?
All right. There's the wife right there. Richie Lippold at the line. He'll get another one. Lippold shooting 65% from the line. Coming off the 7.9 rebound effort against Comac.
He's a greyhound on the court.
20 points against Belport. He's one of those late bloomers, Stan. He's a 6'6" senior who was not a starter last year, not a starter this year, but I'll tell you, there'd be a lot of ball clubs that would love to have him as their featured player in the middle.
Well, he could start this year, but really, basically, what the Tigers have is 7 men starting.
That's true. He does rotate 16 minutes a game.
He rotates the 7 players, and that's neat. Have one guy inside on the baseline, another sub for the guards, and then what you have is a feel for one another.
Greg Waldron on that last basket, and that's the story. After 3, it's 52-27. A 25-point lead for the Northport Tigers. You're watching Cablevision's Long Island Sports Network.
They're courteous, they're quick. When you have children, they really take care of you.
If someone has a sick child, Jeff does it immediately, no waiting.
On New Year's Day. And he had the chicken pox, and this was the only place I was open.
We're open 363 days of the year. Rain, snow, everything. We're here.
It's family-oriented, especially for prescriptions.
It's the customer, the customer, the customer, the customer. Take care of the customer. That's it.
I didn't like high school at all. Didn't even know if I was going to graduate. But my counselor pushed me to go to the BOCES program. It changed my life. And once I began learning, all I wanted to do was learn more and more. The BOCES Tech experience and my college education really made a winning combination. Today, I'm the service manager of a Mercedes-Benz dealership. And every day, it's like an adventure. Once you find something that you enjoy, nobody can stop you.
BOCES Tech Centers, the power to succeed.
Barry Landers, Stan Kellner, Carl Reuter, back here at Lindenhurst High School. I want to thank John Albano and all the fine people here at Lindenhurst High School for having this doubleheader played here. Beautiful court, Stan. They've done a lot of nice work here at Lindenhurst, fixing up the gymnasium here.
Well, I hope they've built an ark outside because it's been raining for the last 2 days. And you know, if they need 2 guys on the ark, you and I could be the 2 guys. You know, we could pair right up.
Gillespie looking inside, and Capola able to put it home to make it 52-29.
Nice seal inside for them.
They actually outscored the Tigers in that third quarter. We'll give you the scoring in that third quarter. They had 14 points at halftime, and they have 29 now, but nice passing and training, just got the easy layup.
And training, a nice slice move, very hard slice move. The Connetquot player did not step to the ball and force training to go behind him.
Scoring was 13-12 in that last quarter. And Coppola showing that this quarterback of the football team can hit the outside shot.
Scott Coppola Jr. will be back next year. Shows great leadership, possibilities at that point position.
He had 12 the first time these clubs played. Cash with that nice spin move. Reversed it up with the left hand, no good. Trainey to follow, but no, it'll be a foul called on Trainey getting the rebound position.
What he did was use his left hand to ward off the offensive guy.
You got to like the ambidextrous ability of Pat Cash. Boy, he'll do a lot of little things to get himself in good scoring position. And he reversed it up with the left hand, missed. As we mentioned, he's a tremendous outside shooter, but this year has been forced to drive so much more because teams are respecting that outside shot. Waldron will be called for the travel. The aforementioned Pat Cash, who we highlighted on the opening, an excellent free throw shooter, over 80%, shooting 50 from the field. This kid does it all, Stan. And at 5'11", plays a lot bigger than 5'11".
Been a catalyst for the club for the last 2 years.
3-year starter. Here's Lippold. He wants to shoot the three from there, but thought better of it.
He's called in isolation right now, Barry.
Cash. That's what he's been doing so well. Penetrating, driving hard, and then dishing off for an easy layup for his teammate.
Connetquot did two things wrong. One, they did not rotate on Cash well, and they did not come back and prevent Lippold from getting the ball.
Lippold with 7 points, approaching double figures, and could end up with 4 men in double figures. Batted around, and Greg Dunn has it for the Tigers. Wavke quietly does a nice job, this sophomore, running the ball club. He's a little reluctant to shoot, Stan, with the juniors on the ball club, but we saw earlier that he has a nice touch from outside when he did hit that three.
Well, he can do it. He can do it all. Has a complete package when he wants to. Oh, nice drive on the basket. What's happening with the sophomore is he's not getting a great amount of playing time, but this is a player that's only going to get better as the season goes on, Chris Wiebe.
Wiebe had his high of 10 against Lindenhurst on this very court when they had their toughest game in the league, except for the Bellport game. That shot by Gillespie, no good. Down court, Cash for the layup.
That was Wiebe that made that nice pass, 3/4 court, down the court. You know what's happening with Cash is that he has a great sense of when to release and when not to.
Cash with 13. Trainey stepping out of bounds. Now, actually, we're going to have a timeout. Timeout on the floor with 4:55 remaining. Barry Landers, Stan Kellner here in the second half. And in talking to John Albano at halftime, while you and Carl were talking about the Jim Mahoney situation, I asked him, do you think that this Northport club can play with the best teams among the A's, with Copeg, even though they've had, of course, the unfortunate situation with Jim Mahoney with the Sachems, the Floyds, and the Bellports? And he says, there's no question in my mind, I think this club, because of their style of play, causes problems for other teams to play them.
But their style of play has expanded. First of all, this is a very explosive transitional team as well. They get the ball right down the court as quickly as they can, and releasing Cash, it's a lot of easy buckets. See, Northport, if they have to work for every basket they have, they're going to be in games where they're going to struggle. But when you're getting that easy bucket, and on the other hand, they don't give up the easy bucket. They protect the blocks very well.
Well, that's an excellent point, Stan. But this is a team that if the referees call a tight game, they've got a strong inside game. They can go to the foul line and shoot well. You've got people like Radman, who's an 86% free throw shooter. Tranny's not a good shooter, but Lippold is. Cash certainly draws a lot of fouls because of his style of play. And they can also hit the outside shot, as we've seen.
And then you look at their team defense. They're giving up 49 points a game, Barry. And that is great defense. You don't do that in League Two, because League Two, I've always felt, has been a real offensively oriented league.
You've got good players on Whitman and Bellport that can fill it up. And they've done well. Whitman, by the way, 4-2. Lindy, 4-2. And those two teams had a game that was scheduled yesterday, but because of the bad weather that was postponed. And at 5-2, sitting in second place is Bellport. So those four teams figure to make the A playoffs, Stan, about a month from now.
I think that the real prime time teams are Bayshore, William Floyd, Sachem, and perhaps this Northport team. That's the top four, as I see it. Perhaps Copeg, because they have a lot to prove to the world and themselves.
shot blocked inside. That was Glenn Olson, number 54. Another 6'5" youngster missing. And the shot is up by Chapin, would not drop, and he was fouled. So everybody on the roster has gotten in for the Northport Tigers.
That's a great feeling when, for a coach, when he's played all his players. You know, it's a happy bus going home.
Now Greg Dunn will sit down. Alex Supios is in the game again, number 30, and it's nice to see that. George Frank giving all of these young men a chance to play before the cameras. And these kids work hard in practice, Stan, and I can speak knowing my son who plays for the Half Hollow Hills hockey team. Doug is maybe a third, fourth line player in the hockey team. Doesn't get in very much during the course of the game, but it's nice when the coach does give the opportunity, and we're seeing George Frank do that right now with his players. As Chapin hits the free throws, we've got a timeout on the floor. Right now, Northport's George Frank's ball club sizzling. They lead it 60-32. We'll be right back.
Great store, clean, neat, and the sales help is wonderful, especially the pharmacists.
It's a beautiful store. It's a beautiful store.
He's a great store. I just like the store, period.
I'm a tough customer. The prices are great. You can get in and out in 5 minutes.
Keep it up. The prices are great.
You got a fine store. Keep up the good work.
Is there a Mr. Genevieve?
Yes.
And we've been trying to service the customer this way for 70 years next year.
Seems to me there's so much to do here, and that translates into so many things to cover.
When I talk about composing a scene, it means that you have to have a plan.
Here now is a list of upcoming community events taking place not far from where you live. All right, well, good luck Saturday, Johnny. Congratulations on your big win this past weekend.
Thank you very much.
And denominators, 3 times 3 is 9.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Gail. Bye-bye.
There's so much going on, and I think anybody who lives out here will know that.
Barry Landers, Stan Kellner, Carl Reuter here at Lindenhurst High School. Upcoming games we want to tell you about as far as our high school schedule is concerned. Jericho and Wheatley, Locust Valley and Cold Spring Harbor. We'll have a college game. Speaking of Dowling, as we were earlier, they'll be taking on Adelphi. And St. Mary's Holy Trinity, Kellenberg, St. John the Baptist in a Catholic League doubleheader. And off the turnover, Connetquot will get the ball, trailing 60-32. They have won only twice this year, and Northport's only loss came to Southampton. They'll be 13-1 after today. I'll tell you, that Southampton club, quite a good club, Stan. They just beat Santa Mauritius. Santa Mauritius handed them their only loss earlier in the year, and among the C schools, those are certainly the two best.
They're really good. I like Santa Mauritius a lot this year. I just feel that what's happening out there with Savino's team is the fact that he can rely on so many big people on his club. He's got nice rotation.
Well, you can't forget Southampton was the Suffolk Sea champs last year and really shocked at Malvern, if you remember, last year. And speaking of Malvern, they're having another great season, Stan. They beat Hempstead earlier in the year, and they should dominate the season. We might be seeing a showdown between either Southampton and Santa Mauritius going up against Malvern to represent Long Island in the state tournament later in March.
Malvern, one of the best consistent programs in the state.
And ball will be inbounded by Connetquot after the kick ball. They trail 60-32. Oleski, who has 10 points, off to Waldron, who has 6. Got blocked by Glenn Olson, number 54. And the ball will be inbounded by Connetquot. Of course, in Nassau County, Hempstead has been playing well of late. Farmingdale, we saw them with a nice win over fine Catholic League opponent. As the ball is lost by O'Connell, the Tigers will get the ball. We'll get a Connetquot substitution right here. Checking into the ball game, number 32, Dave Carrera. Very aggressive substitute. And sitting down will be Greg Waldron and Scott Coppola, two of their starters. Also reporting into the ball game, number 20, Matt Tricano, a 6-foot senior, averaging 2.5 points off the bench. Here's Olson in the lane. And O'Connell pulling the rebound down. Also checking into the ball game, number 3 is Dennis Rogers, who'll work in the backcourt. He's a good ball handler. And Bobby Drizel making another substitution. O'Connell will sit down. And checking back in is Connetquot. So all substitutes in the game right now for Connetquot, with the exception of Gillespie. Spun out for Gillespie. He's a tough kid. He'll dish it off along the baseline, but the ball lost out of bounds by Dave Carrera. But no, they say it's off one of the Tigers.
Connetquot still in the game, still trying to move without the ball, trying to get that offense going, looking for one another.
Connetquot gets fouled with 2:07 to go. And Damon will go to the free throw line. A football player, scores most of his points on putbacks. Had a high of 6 this year.
Damon's got good hands, very aggressive player, a fine football player. You know, has to play the low post, doesn't really have any great moves inside.
And sitting down will be Gillespie. He leads the team in scoring with 10 points. And making his first appearance, number 5, Bobby Nicholson, as Connetquot will get another shot. Bobby is a good shooter, so just about everybody on both squads has gotten into this ball game, Stan. That's nice to see. 2:05 to go here. The Tigers with a comfortable 27-point lead. First time they played, they won by a big score as well.
Connetquot still playing man-to-man, still trying to learn, still trying to get playing time for everybody.
Supios, number 30. Trying to feed it for Olsen inside. Not a good pass by Surace that time. He's the wide receiver on the football team and also a baseball player. Connetquot missing. Batted back out. Nicholson has it. And the shot from outside is good. So they get on the board that time. Dennis Rogers with the bucket. Now check that, it was Matt Tricano with the bucket, number 20. Olsen having trouble, now gets it and puts it in softly.
Nice move by Glenn Olsen inside. He's 6'5". He's a junior. First year playing Barry, but he's got a really nice, as you saw, a nice lefty hook.
And nice form that time on the shot from outside by Connetquot. Putting it home was Dave Carrera. 62-38 is the score with 42 seconds to go. Olsen. And the ball goes out of bounds. We'll get a substitution right now for Connetquot. Dan Block coming into the ball game for the first time. So he is the final player on both these squads to make it to the game. All right, Ceduto pulling down the rebound. Supios passing off. Banked up and in. And look how happy Northport is. As Greg Bonasoro, we told you what he meant to this team, the football player. They love this guy.
He plays lacrosse, he's football, but Greg looked like a basketball player on that little power sweep.
Well, you love to see the whole bench erupted, Stan, and that's the kind of togetherness, that kind of chemistry you love to see.
It's called unity, and when you see it, it's so rewarding to watch it. And when you read about it in the newspaper where a team doesn't have unity and support one another, or support the coach, and we're getting back to the Mahoney thing, it really is sad.
Well, the two teams, good sport, shaking hands. Northport goes to 13-1, 8-0 in League 2 play after going 9-9 last year. And George Frank's ball club has now won 8 straight. And right now sitting pretty. And you look back, Stan, over the last, in that stretch of 89, 90, and 91, when they went 19-2, 22-1, and 16-5. That 3-year span, they were 57-8. Very impressive.
Nice talent. I think the program has evolved too. These players showed me a complete package.
All right, so that will just about do it for this evening's showdown between the Northport Tigers as they win impressively with a final score of 64-38. They blew them out early, and after falling behind, they won 15 points in a row, and there was no contest. Stan, fun working with you, and we head for a second game. What are your closing observations?
On this game here, let's go back to you, Barry.